All right. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Supercharged Sunday with me, Emily McHugh, your Supercharged coach and host. And today I am thrilled to welcome Paulien Pierik, the aligned marketing strategist and business coach and marketing strategist who's here with us today, all the way from Eindhoven, Netherlands. Welcome, Paulien.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes. I've known Paulien for quite a while in Facebook land. And I was just kind of thinking back today of where we first connected. And I don't quite remember which group, but all I know is that Paulien is a person who adds a lot of value. She has a rich experience, rich expertise. So you're really in for a special opportunity today to learn from her expertise. And today we're supercharging your social media. And Paulien is a social media expert, and our title of what we're talking about are the 5-step framework to consistently enroll clients online. So there's a lot of insights that you're going to gain today. Make sure you have your pen and paper ready because there is much to glean from Paulien. So again, welcome everyone to our time here to Supercharge. So Paulien, share some, if you will, about your background. How did you get into this field of being an alignment strategist, a marketing strategist?
So I have a background in business. I studied business, and then I worked as a CEO of online marketing businesses for about 17 years. And that was, of course, like a high achiever job, but it was also a lot of politics, a lot of management. And I noticed that I don't truly enjoy that. I much more enjoy, let's say, the people side of things, so helping people. So I decided I no longer wanted to be a CEO of a bigger business. I wanted to make more impact. And for me, making impact is helping someone achieve their potential. That's the thing that I really like doing. So I was thinking, okay, what is my background? What do I love doing? And I merged those two together, and I decided, okay, I'm going to be a business coach. So yeah, and I think for me, what's really important in everything I do is that I only want to do things that feel aligned and that are ethical and that are not superficial, not fluffy. So that's why I also help my clients with that. So hence the aligned marketing strategist. I think it's really important if you do marketing that it should feel aligned and it should be real and ethical.
Yes, and those are powerful terms that give deep clarity and deep focus to what you do and what you will do for your clients, because you allow them to see that straight line, if you will. And I have to say, as also having been a client of yours, Paulien, you did a website review for me, and I'm in the process of working on a website, and I pulled out your sheet. I'm like, okay, now I could implement what Paulien shared with me. So I want to thank you for that. So I'm looking forward to you can see it again when I finally get it up. I'll let you know.
But, yeah, let me know. Send it over.
Yes. But yes, so you work with your clients in different ways, and we're going to talk about that more as we go forward this morning. But what do you find your experience, especially now with different people coming online? I mean, people are flooding online, really, and positioning themselves as this, as the other. How do you guide your clients into that alignment?
I think the most important thing is that what many clients don't know when we start working together, or what they struggle with, is that many people in the online space teach one method. So they teach you the one method to enroll clients. And for many people, that one method doesn't feel aligned, but they feel like that is what I need to do. I need to go live every day, or I need to be on Instagram every day, or I need to direct message 60 people a day because that is what my coach taught me. And what I try to teach people is these are all valid strategies, but you don't need to do any of them. You can choose one of them, the one that feels aligned. So instead of saying, okay, here's a strategy, copy paste it, go and implement it, I say, okay, who are you as a person? What do you like to achieve? Here is a range of ways you can achieve it. Let's choose one and let's implement that one strategy together, so that you end up with a strategy that actually feels good and that you can actually keep doing long term.
That is really excellent advice. So how do you couple that with the idea of the algorithm of either Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and feeling like you have to keep pace with that system that's put that technological matrix system in place there? How do you align those two?
Well, I personally believe that if you are feeling energized by what you do, and if you're enthusiastic, and if you know what you're talking about, and if you love working with your clients, that is way more important than the algorithm. So the algorithm comes next. You should never do things because of the algorithm first. You should have a strategy that feels good. You should know how to reach your clients. And then, of course, there's the algorithm, but the algorithm comes second.
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think if you are doing things just because of the algorithm, after 3 months, you will feel burnt out because you're just trying to fight the algorithm, and then the algorithm changes and you have to change your strategy again.
Exactly. This is really quite a vital highlight to make, because that is what it becomes, like a hamster wheel many times.
Exactly.
The whole social media thing, and you feel like it becomes chaotic because like, oh no, I have to do this, oh no, we have to do reels today, I have to do stories. And you're just like, but once you, as you say, you focus initially on what your message is and what you're about, then the rest serves that purpose, not the other way around.
Exactly. There are some things like, for example, in reels on Instagram, most of my clients really don't like reels because it's, like dancing videos and stuff. So they're like, oh, I'm not going to touch that. So the way I approach that is to say, hey, reels have a really good reach right now. If you post a reel, it will get 10 times more views than if you post a regular post. Yes. So let's consider it. Let's look at it and see if there's a way for you to do this in a way that feels aligned. If not, you don't do it. If yes, then let's find a way for you to do it without.
And people can be creative about it. That's the thing. You don't have to follow what someone else they're dancing. Doesn't mean you have to. You can come up with your own thing, your spin. It's just that using the tool to get your message out.
Yes, and at least consider the tool, because the tool gives you a big advantage right now, algorithm-wise. So it's wise to at least consider it. But don't start doing dancing videos because you think that is needed for the algorithm, because that will look stupid. And everybody will be like, oh, that makes me cringe. This woman
unless you're doing Bhangra dancing like Emily, okay?
Of course, because that's authentic, right? You are really enjoying it. It's aligned. You can see that. I saw them, and I can see that is something that you are enjoying. But if you're doing it just because someone told you that that's the thing to do,
definitely not. It has to be authentic. It has to be a part of your story and what you're about. Otherwise, it doesn't align. Wonderful. So, Paulien, we already, and for those who are not totally familiar, reels are on Instagram. So, because I know some people.
So they're like the short 30-second videos that you see a lot on Instagram now with the dancing and or lip syncing.
Heaven help us. Okay, I know it can be a bit much. So we're going to dive right into your 5-step framework, because I'm excited to hear about your framework, Paulien, the 5-step framework to consistently enroll clients online. And really, I got caught on the word consistently because that's where a lot of people struggle with consistency. And so tell us about the title, and then we'll go into the framework.
Yeah, so I also call my framework the 5 C's. So there are 5 elements, each starting with a C.
Okay.
So 2 of them are kind of things that you start with, or things that you do all the time, and then the other 3 is what makes the marketing consistent. But I'll explain as we go along. So the first one, and I think this is really important, is that before you are ready to market and sell, you first need to have some foundations in place. And I call them cornerstones because I wanted to have C's. So you need to have your cornerstones in place first before you are ready to market and sell. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that many entrepreneurs make. They don't have those cornerstones in place.
Exactly.
So, and the cornerstones for me are, first of all, that you need to have a northern star, like a goal, a place where you, so clarity on where you want to be in 1 year or in 3 years, and knowing where you're moving. And I think many people don't have that. They have this idea of, well, maybe I want to make 7 figures, but they don't have a real idea of how much money do I want to make? What is the impact that I want to make? Do I want a team? Do I not want a team? And so on. So if you don't have clarity on that, then you are not moving anywhere. So I think that's the first thing that an entrepreneur should do, is get really clear on where you want to go and why. And then once you're clear on that, the next step, I think, is to be really clear on your niche. And the niche is something that many people talk about, but still I see so many people that don't have a niche. But having the niche before you start marketing and selling is really, really important. Because if you start marketing and selling, but you're not yet clear on what your niche is, then you might end up doing a lot of work, but you get no results. Should I explain what I mean when I say niche?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because I think also the process of getting clear, it's and understanding that it is indeed that process. You don't just arrive one day and everything is clear. You go through stages to get clear, and also to find that niche. So yeah, if you could amplify some more on that, those processes of the clear and the niche.
Yeah. So with niche, I basically mean 3 things. First of all, who is it that you help if you're a service-based business, or who is it that you sell to if you're a product-based business? So who are your ideal clients? And what is the problem that you solve for them? And how do you do this in a way that is different from everybody else? That together makes up your niche. So in an example, if you are saying, I am a life coach, that is not a niche, because it's not specific who you're helping, it's not specific which problem you're solving, and it's also not specific how you do, what makes you different from someone else. Or if you have
a broad category versus a specific.
Yeah, so it has to be so specific so that if someone hears it, they can immediately know, hey, this is for me, this is relevant for me. Or they can immediately think, oh, I have an aunt or a neighbor or a sister who needs that. So it needs to be that specific. And if you're not specific, it will be much harder to market, because you don't know who you're talking to. And it will be harder to get word of mouth, because people don't really know what problem you solve. And it will be, for example, if you want to run ads, it will be very hard, because you don't know who you want to reach with your ads, and you don't know what to talk about in your ads, because you can solve all the problems for all the people.
So what would you say, Paulien, would be an example of how someone could become, if they're not quite sure how to get to this place of niching down, what would be a tip to help them do that?
So how I do that is I use a model called Ikigai.
Yes.
You know what Ikigai?
Oh yeah, I use that quite a bit as well.
Yeah, so Ikigai is a Japanese model, and it stands for a reason to get out of bed every morning.
Yes.
So if you apply that to entrepreneurship, and you want your Ikigai business, so the perfect business that and your perfect niche, you have the Ikigai model has 4 elements, and I apply that to niching as well. So the perfect niche has 4 elements. It needs to be something that you're super passionate about. And that's the thing I think you hear a lot in the online space. Just choose what you're passionate about and you will be fine.
Yes.
But I personally believe that it's only one of the 4 elements. And if you're only passionate about something, it's not enough.
Right.
So being passionate is number 1. Number 2 is you need to be good at it.
That would help.
Yeah, so if I'm really passionate about art, but I don't know how to make art, then that's probably not a good idea. So it needs to be something that you are good at and that you can easily execute.
Exactly.
So you're passionate and talented at it. Then the third thing is also really important, is that you can make good money with it. So this is an example that I see a lot, for example, with people that do handmade stuff. So they make very beautiful handmade stuff, but it takes so much hours to create one thing that there is no way that they can price it in a way that actually makes them money.
Right.
So if you cannot sell the thing for a price that will actually make you money, then you still don't have a business, even if you're passionate about it and talented at it.
Yes.
So that's the third one. And the fourth one is the world should want it and need it, and it should make the world a better place. So it should be something. So for example, if you're a drugs dealer, you can make a lot of money at it. You can be passionate about it and talented at it, but that doesn't take the fourth box. It should make the world a better place, and it should make a positive impact. Exactly. So those are the 4 elements. So the way I approach it is brainstorm each of these elements, write down all the things that you're passionate about, write down all the things that you're really good at, then start brainstorming, how could I make money with that? And which of these does the world actually need and make the world a better place? And then brainstorm ideas, categorize or classify them in terms of which one am I most passionate about, which one am I most talented at. And you can make an Excel sheet, for example, rank them, and then see which idea ranks best.
Right.
That's very briefly the process, how I do it.
Right, right. And it's a series of frameworks within the framework too, as you deal with each area as clearly.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah, so this is like a sub-framework of a sub-thing of the first C of the cornerstones. Yeah.
Drilling down to that specific place. Excellent.
But I see that niching down is very hard for many entrepreneurs because we are all multi-passionate and we want to do all the things for all the people. So this is definitely one of the big hurdles for many entrepreneurs.
Well, Paulien, just lingering on that point a bit more, that is definitely a challenge, and I hear it quite a bit. So how do you say to someone, okay, well, I love all these things, I'm good at all these things, okay, and then narrowing it down? And I think one thing I would say, and I would love your thoughts on this, is that you can have cohesion. You may have multiple facets to things that you offer, but you can, as long as you have a cohesive message and a cohesive story, there can be different spokes to a wheel, but there's a cohesiveness to it. And so it depends again on what people are doing, but that's one aspect. Like, can you have an umbrella and have different things underneath it?
Yeah, so can you, because for example, I am a business coach, and most of the work that I do is marketing, but I also help clients with budgeting. I don't market that, but that goes under the umbrella of business coaching. So as long as it's part of the umbrella, you can still do that work with clients. You might not be marketing it.
Yes.
So choosing a niche doesn't mean that you cannot do all the other work.
Right. And that's also really important for people to understand. It's really what you want to be known for as the what is the dominant theme. It's like in music, what's the dominant note or the dominant harmony or whatever. That is what you're going after, that dominant piece.
Yeah. And I also always tell my clients, this is not something that you need to stick to forever and ever and ever. It's just that in order to get your business off the ground, choosing a niche is the easiest way forward. That doesn't mean that once you get to the level where you have a comfortable income, you cannot start adding other things. But right now, if you want to start making money, the wisest decision is niching down.
Right. Yes, excellent advice. So that's with all a part of the whole clarity picture and what it takes to get clear. So that's number 1 in your 5 C's. So
yeah. So the cornerstones, but there is a third one under cornerstones. So you have the Northern Star, knowing where you want to go, having your niche, and then the third one is having your offer, having something to sell, and that has 2 aspects. Everything has multiple aspects. So having something to sell has 2 aspects. It needs to be profitable, and it needs to be something that the world really wants. So what I see quite a lot is that people have come up with an idea of what they want to sell, but then when you do the math, it turns out they are not making any money on it. Or they have come up with some great idea for a course, for example, but then when they try to sell it, nobody wants it because they haven't done the check with their audience. Is this actually something that the audience wants? Right. So before you go and market and sell, you first need to think, do I have something for sale? that is profitable and that people actually want.
So the first C is the cornerstones.
Yes.
Right. And underneath the cornerstones, you have the clarity, the niche, and the offer. And
yes.
That's what you do before you even start to market anything. It's like, what am I going to market?
At least before you start putting money into marketing and sales, I would say you need clarity on that. So if you don't know what to sell yet, then I would say don't put money into marketing. First, get clear on what you want to sell.
Right.
At least that's one thing for sale.
As my mom would always say, you can't sell from an empty wagon. So
exactly.
Get that wagon.
But there are quite a few people who do that, and they start putting money into Facebook ads to grow their list, for example, and when they don't even have anything for sale. And I personally think you should not do that unless you have an unlimited amount of money, of course, then you can do that.
And then the thing about it is then not having even tested the concept prior to investing all those funds, and then being disappointed when it doesn't work because they spent a lot of money. So
exactly. Yeah.
The more you spend does not translate to the more you're going to get. So people really need to know that it's not a magical thing.
Yeah,
running an ad.
It doesn't mean that you have to, like, if you want to sell a course, you have to build the whole thing before you start marketing. No, but at least you need to have something for sale that you have kind of tested, like a minimum viable product, something that you have tested enough to know that, okay, now I can go and start and market and sell it.
And that, what term you just used, minimum viable product, is a term people really need to understand, because that is what will allow you to have, this is a point where you can say, yes, this is something I can sell.
Yes.
As opposed to it's a baseline. It's a baseline from which you can launch a product that you actually can sell.
Yeah.
So make sure there's someone out there willing to buy and testing is key.
Yes.
So those are absolutely great tips, having the cornerstones, and it's all about building that solid foundation. And I believe in definitely highlighting the idea of the foundational stages, which people tend to want to rush because they're so eager to get out there and take all, as you say, all the fancy advice that people have to give. That may have worked for them, but certainly not going to work for you because you have different circumstances.
Exactly.
Different business model. So this is really very, very vital what you're sharing. Okay. All right. So the cornerstones. So what's our second big C?
So our second C is, and it's not something that you ever stop working on, but it's confidence. And you can also call it mindset or energy. But I believe that working on your confidence and your mindset is really, really critical. So you can have the best marketing and sales strategy in the world if you are afraid to charge your prices, if you're afraid to sell, if you think no one is going to listen to what you have to say, if you believe that nobody wants to hear what you have to say, and so on, it will be really, really hard to build your business. So confidence is kind of the thing that holds it all together.
Yes.
And if your self-confidence is high, then you don't have a problem. But in my experience, many entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, have some confidence issues that they need to work on.
Yes. Why is that? Why do women have that, especially, would you say, the confidence challenge?
I don't know, maybe because we are raised to not, at least here in the Netherlands, we are raised to not put ourselves, not to brag, not to be the center of attention, to be modest. And when you have to sell yourself, you have to, it feels a little bit like if you have to brag, right? So I think that's one of the things.
I think it's exactly, and the vocabulary, and the words you're using right now, bragging, being the center of attention. That's not even what this is about. It's about, you have a message, you have a need to fill, you're on a mission. And if people don't know about it, then you're not fulfilling your mission and you're not delivering your message. It's a complete rewiring of how we think and how we speak.
Yes, and recognizing that is very important, especially in the beginning stages when you have never sold. You need to work through all these mindset, all these limiting beliefs in order
Yes.
to start feeling comfortable with selling and showing up and telling your story.
Right. And as you say, it's a process, an ongoing
It's
thing.
an ongoing process, because if you go to the next step in your business, the same issues will come up again. And then if you go to the next level, the same issues will come up again. So it's an ongoing thing.
And the thing is that you can have confidence in one area, but not in another. So you have to develop it in another area and so on. So, and right. No, it's absolutely a key, one of your big C.
Yeah, big C,
Very big
confidence.
C.
Not for everyone, but for most people, I would say it's a big one. Yes.
Yes. And also to that point is that sometimes a person can come off as very confident. That doesn't mean they're not afraid of, they're not have their insecurities as well, but they have a way of coping with it or overcoming it. Despite that, they can still show up with a belief in themselves. So it's not to give the false impression that you never feel afraid ever again.
No, definitely.
But you show up still.
Yeah, and I think this, what I find a really motivating thing is that many people think that they have to feel confident before they take action. So they're kind of waiting. I'm not feeling confident, so I cannot take action. I need to do something in order to start feeling confident so that I can start taking action. But actually, no, it's the other way around.
Yes.
By taking the action, you'll start feeling confident.
Absolutely.
So you have to define, like, what is a small step that I can take right now? Not the big scary step, but a small step that I can take to step outside my comfort zone.
Yes.
And if you do that, that is what's going to build the confidence.
Absolutely. Excellent. So
action builds confidence, not confidence creates is needed before you take action, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes all the sense in the world, but that's what people don't quite get sometimes. That the action has to come first.
Yeah.
No, very much so. It's a muscle. You're building the confidence muscle.
Yes. All of these things are actually muscles, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. All right. So what's the third C in our wheelhouse?
The third C is community. So the last three C's are all part of, let's say, the marketing and sales strategy. So the first C of the marketing and sales strategy is community. Mm-hmm. And with community, I mean your audience, your tribe, however you want to call it. And what's really, really important is that your community needs to be growing and it needs to be filled with the right people.
Yes.
So I think many people are focused on just getting as many followers, for example, on Instagram as possible, or they even buy followers. Mm-hmm. But it's not about having as many as possible. It's about having the right ones.
Yes.
So, and that's where the niche, the cornerstone of the niche comes in. If you don't know who the right ones are, then you cannot build your community because you don't know who these people are.
Definitely. And then a great.
Yeah, and I think the ever-growing thing is also really important, because what I see happen a lot is that people have grow their audience to a certain size and then they stop growing their audience. But only a very small percentage of your audience will ever buy from you. So if you don't continue growing your audience, your sales potential will dry up. So it's very important looking at, like, what is it that I have to do daily to start consistently enrolling clients? One of the things is grow your audience with the right people every single day.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd like to just share a quick example of this. We had not too long ago another one of my Supercharged Sunday guests, Savvy Lee, who is a wedding photographer, and she shared the example of how on her Instagram page, she's very focused on her target market. It's not as big a following as maybe some others, but she closes deals from that because it's the right people in there. So it's not really her priority that it's this ton of people, but she's growing it with the right people, as you say, the core customer she's going after. And I think that's a great example of what you're saying. So if people want to go back and listen to that episode with Savvy, is a great case study of exactly what you're sharing, and so keenly important.
Yeah. And so the thing you need to do if you want to have an aligned way to grow your community is to decide how am I going to grow my community, and where will my community be? Will it be my email list? Will it be my Facebook group? Will it be on Instagram? There are several places where you can grow a community. And also, what will be the way that I want to grow my community? There are many ways how you can do that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you don't have to do all the ways. You just have to find one platform where you grow your community, and one way to grow it that feels good, and that is enough. So I think that's also important. You don't need to do all the things on all the platforms all the time. You can choose one method and one platform and focus on that.
And and that's definitely an excellent strategy as well. One thing I've found is that you can have different type of communities as well depending on what you're trying to do. So maybe say like on Facebook you have one type of community, on Instagram you maybe have another. They may even overlap, but it allows you to communicate in a slightly different way. I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to achieve and how you're comfortable. And again, that keyword, the alignment, if it all aligns with what you are trying to do, then that makes sense. When it's off, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah. And also when you are trying to do all the things. So when you are trying to have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a Facebook profile, and you are trying to do Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter and being on all these places at the same time, that's too much. You don't have to do that. You can choose one or two and find one or two ways to grow that community, and that is enough.
So what would you say, given the fact that, let's say you want to have a presence in these places because you want to reserve your name or reserve your real estate, if you will, your social media real estate, but you're not going to be all that, like, for example, for me, for Twitter, I used to be very active on Twitter years ago when it was just, but now I'm not so much on Twitter anymore. But I still have my name, I still have things, so how do you reconcile the fact that you reserve the space, but you're not going to be as active everywhere? And not show up as if you've abandoned the platform either. I mean, well, how do you?
Yeah. So what you can do is every now and then post something strategic so that it doesn't look like you abandoned the platform. That's one thing. And the other thing is you use it to funnel people to your other channels. Okay. So let's say on Twitter, you're not using Twitter actively. You can use your cover photo and say, hey guys, come and join me on Instagram. And then you link to your Instagram. And then you can have a pinned, or like a pinned tweet that links to the Instagram, and your profile can link to the Instagram. So you still have the presence, but if people find you there, you funnel them to your other channels. That's what I would recommend.
Now that is a very, very helpful tip, and I think it really makes it more tangible for people to realize how they can create their own social media strategy that is aligned with what they're doing, of course, but also with using the tools that are available to your advantage, and using it the way you want to use it, as opposed to how you think you should use it, how the platform dictates you should. So that's an excellent way to look at it.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. So yeah, one or two core platforms, and all the other ones just funnel towards those two where you have your community.
The funneling, wonderful. I think people should breathe a sigh of relief when they hear that, because it takes the pressure off the idea of how to position yourselves in these different places. I think this is a brilliant, brilliant insight, because a lot of people definitely struggle with that. I know I've had that, like, how do you keep up with all these things? But you have to know how to do that, and just hold them.
Okay.
That's a great way. No, that's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Oh, I'm loving this. This is going to be one of our epic episodes, because it's so rich with things that people can implement right away.
Great, thank you.
And really highlight, and I certainly can reach out to you for more of, for sure. All right, so are we ready? Are there any other points on community, or did you want to go?
No, I think that's the biggest point. So you need to be working on growing your community with the right people every single day. And you can choose one method to do that. It can be various methods. Just choose one that feels good and stick to that one. And that will be enough in the beginning stages to grow your business.
And Paulien, with the idea of doing it every single day. So does that translate to posting every day? Because we were saying before that you don't maybe not necessarily have to post every day. So what does it mean that you're doing every day?
one action that helps you grow your business, grow your audience every day. So one day it can be that you do this. Well, there are many different ways you can do this. I think we don't have time to go into detail on what that means. But one day it can be that you, like I'm doing a session with you today, that could be the thing I do today to grow my audience, because I'm now getting in front of your audience and people get to know me. That could be what I do today. Right. Tomorrow it could be that I follow new people on Instagram and they follow me back, and I grow my Instagram. So it can be different things, or it can be the same thing, but just one thing every day.
Now that is also another key point to highlight as well, because again, people may think it's about posting every day, and it's not necessarily that. It's about some proactive step that moves you in a certain direction. And these details, these nuances are where people get stuck, right, or get lost.
Yes. Yeah, so because the fourth C is actually content. But what many people think is that content posting is what grows your community, and it's not. Mm-hmm. Content is what helps you take the people in your audience from just hearing about you towards being ready to buy from you. That's the main goal of your content. But the main goal of your content is not so much to attract new people.
So let's just highlight that again. The goal is to get them from hearing about you to buying from
you. Yeah, to being ready to buy from you. That's the goal of the content that you post, at least the content that you post on your own channels. So let's say you have a Facebook page, or you have an Instagram, or you have a blog, or you send emails to your list. That content that you post on your own channels, the goal of that content is not to grow your community. It is to bridge the gap between people that are completely new and just see you for the first time towards being ready to buy from you. That's what your content should do. Mm-hmm. So if I post on my Facebook page, the chance that new people will see that is pretty low. Usually it's my followers that see that, right?
Right.
So if you want to get new followers, posting on your existing channels is not the best way. It is a way, but it's not the best way.
So what's the best way? Yeah, what is the best way then?
I would say there are three ways. The first way, this is also again like a sub thing within the model, but the first way is to get in front of other people's audiences. So that's what we are doing today. Mm-hmm. So this is not content that I post on my own channel. I am creating content with you that goes on your channel. And that's a way for me to grow my audience, because I get in front of your audience.
Yes.
So that's a big one. It's trying to get in front of other people's audience by doing guest videos, guest blogging, being a guest on podcasts, speaking on a stage, giving a guest lecture, all these things. Mm-hmm. That's a big way to grow your community. Yes. And the second way is through search engines. So that is creating content that gets found in Google or on YouTube or on Pinterest, basically. Okay. So for me, I have a few blog posts that do really well, and they get found on Google and on Pinterest. They get people to my website, and on my website, people subscribe to my lead magnet. That's how they then become part of my community.
Excellent. So the funneling through these different channels to the search engine.
Yes.
SEO. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what was the third one?
Advertising.
Ads. Okay.
But I don't recommend advertising to people unless they have a working way to consistently enroll clients. If you're not yet consistently enrolling clients, I would say you need to optimize that flow first before you start putting money into ads.
Wow, people, did you hear that? Yes, that is what you've got to do first. Organically build and know that there is momentum organically, and then invest in scaling it is more what you're doing.
Yes. So it's one of my personal missions to make sure that small entrepreneurs don't throw their money at Mark Zuckerberg, because he's already rich enough and it just makes him richer and it doesn't help us. And I think we are made to believe that that is the way forward, but usually it's not.
No. And
And
then
if you spend your money on, if you spend your money on ads, it's gone. You cannot spend it again.
It's a money pit. It goes to the pits of hell as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, the bottomless pit of hell, in fact. But it's like, you know, when you to boost a post or all that's absolutely ridiculous. You just do not want to be doing that.
Exactly.
Not at this stage of the game. I mean, if you're at a stage where it makes sense, then you will know that it does because it will have worked. But most people, it's not going to work because they haven't laid this groundwork that you're talking about today. This is where it starts. So absolutely essential. Yeah, absolutely essential for the content. And this gives us a bit of a more strategic way of looking at the content as well, because it is designed to answer the question that people ask in Google. That's what it's all about. Like even for today, you know, your social media strategy, we're supercharging the social media strategy. People want to know how to do this. And this is just exactly on topic, on target, on meeting a need that people have and want to know more about. And as we were highlighting, those nuances is where people get lost. So this is really going to be extremely valuable. This is going to be one of the top ranking videos of all time on YouTube, period. Just letting you know. We're proclaiming it and claiming it, Paulien. But definitely, no, absolutely. And it's, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Okay, so are we on number 5? That was the last.
No, yeah. So number 4 is content.
Content, yeah.
So I think the main takeaway there is that the goal of your content is not to grow your community. The goal of your content is to bridge that gap so that people start to know and like and trust you, and they feel like, oh, this person might be someone that I can work with.
I just have to say, just to highlight that point once more, that's a real shift in thinking, because we are kind of have maybe the subliminal thought process that we are just trying to grow, build. But what about the sell? And it is, or how does that translate, shall I say, into the sales process? And that part right there is where the gap exists. And what you've just shared is how you bridge that gap quickly, because your intention is different. And so that is really quite the shift in thinking.
Yeah, so that's what the content does. And then the 5th C is conversion to clients. So that's actually the sell.
There you go.
So your marketing and sales strategy consists of community. So always grow your community with the right people. Then content, use content so that people, so you bridge the gap so that people are ready to buy. And then convert to clients means you need to have the skills to actually do that. So that if people say, oh, she's interesting, I want to buy from her, you need to have the sales skills to actually do that. And you need to have a strategy. So how do you do that? Do you get them on a call? Do you offer a free session? Do you sell on a webinar? What is your sales vehicle? And how do you actually close the sale? And that also ties in with the confidence, right? Usually when people struggle with sales, it's not a strategy thing, it's a confidence thing.
So so give us an example of how you would tie that together. And what are some specific things that people could do in the conversion state, like transitioning? So now I've put out my content, you are there, now what does it mean I need to do next?
So in the conversion to clients, I think the daily thing you need to do is talk about what you have to offer and invite people to buy it. Right. Basically, that's it. But it's very easy to not do that. So a daily action could be that you reach out to potential clients, to people that have expressed interest in working with you, and say, hey, I've noticed that you commented on all my posts. Would you be interested in having a chat about how I can help you? Something like that. Or it could be reaching out to former clients and offering them something to work together again. Or it could be creating a sales post where you highlight a special offer, just something that shows I have something for sale and I have space for you can buy it from me right now. The doors are open.
The marketplace. What is the marketplace that you have? So how do you bridge the gap between coming off as like every minute you're selling, and people are like, oh, what is she selling now? Versus like doing it in a way that people be receptive to, as opposed to feeling bombarded with. How do you offset that?
I think for me, it's two things. It's you always lead with value. So the majority of what people see from you should be value and not sales. And the other thing is, every post, everything you do can end with a call to action. So for example, if I create a really long, valuable post, I can end it with a call to action that says, buy from me. But I don't want to make too many posts that only say, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. I am amazing, I am amazing, I am amazing. I usually tell my clients, let's say about 1 out of every 5 posts that you do can be something where you only highlight your products. Mm-hmm. So 20% can be about your products. The other 80%, if the other 80% is valuable, then people don't mind the 20%. But if it's the other way around, if it's 80% sales, then people will get annoyed and they will unfollow you because they're like, oh, it's her again with her promotions.
Right. It has to be, and the thing is, by the time you do show up to sell what you have to sell, it will be clear why they would need it, why it would be the obvious next step.
Yeah, that's the goal of your content.
Right. So it's not like out of left field or something irritating, because it's what would be logical. Yeah.
And that is why you need to be sure that what you offer is actually something that people need.
Yeah. Yes. So Paulien, just to summarize, we can summarize where you are, and then I would like to ask you, I didn't ask you this ahead of time as far as books. Sometimes guests have come on and they mention various books that people can read that are helpful. Is there a book that comes to mind that you would recommend to someone, or just to kind of, that comes to mind?
I do really like the book, The Lean Startup.
The Lean Startup, okay.
The Lean Startup, although it's more about software development. Mm-hmm. And less about service-based businesses, but it goes into the idea of the minimum viable product and how you can, if you have an idea, how you can test it so that you make sure that you actually build something that people want. So okay. That's definitely an interesting book. I have my bookcase here.
Okay.
So let me see what other books I have that.
Because it's really so important that people, number one, know their resources, how they can get additional information, and that they really develop that repository of understanding that they can pull from as they make decisions for their business, and have that guidance of insight.
I don't think I have any other books that.
It's okay. No, that's great. No, that's a wonderful. Yeah. I don't need a ton of books. That's perfect. That's an excellent suggestion. So maybe we could like summarize where we were today. Just kind of highlight, just relist maybe the 5 C's. Like, just list them, say what they are, and.
Yeah. Shall I do that now?
Yeah. Let's just summarize our 5 C's. The 5 C's framework.
Yeah, so the first one is the cornerstones. So it's basically the foundation of your business, which is having a clarity on where you want to go and why. Your niche, so knowing who you help, what you help them with, and how you're different than everyone else. And then it's having an offer, and the offer should be something that can actually make you money and that the market wants.
Yes.
So those are the cornerstones. And then you have the marketing and sales strategy, which consists of 3 parts: growing your community with the right people. You can't bridge the gap from people just hearing about you to people being ready to buy from you. And then there's conversion, which is the skill to actually take those people and make them into paying clients. And those 3 kind of work together. And that's what you have to work on every day. And you need to find your own aligned way of doing each of these. So find an aligned way to grow your community, find an aligned way to create content, and find an aligned way to sell. And if you have those 3 things in place, then you have your consistent way to enroll clients.
Wow.
And then over all of that, you have the 5th C, which is confidence, which is an ongoing thing that you have to work on all the time.
So it's like they're all linked, and you have to connect the dots for all of them to work in harmony, going around like a nice circle of activity.
Yeah.
So with thank you for summarizing that. And if you were to say to somebody like the key mistakes that you find most commonly, just as a quick example, some top mistake or the number one mistake that people should avoid in this whole process, what would that be?
I would say not niching down is one. One of them is investing in programs that either only cover mindset or only cover strategy, and not noticing that you also need the other one. So you do a strategy program, but you don't realize that you have a mindset problem, or you do a mindset program and you don't realize that you have a strategy problem. So that's one, I think. Yes. And the other one is the like copying someone else's strategy and not realizing that it doesn't feel aligned, and then trying that strategy and then quitting after a few months because it didn't feel aligned, and then believing that this is not working and I failed. Instead of realizing, oh, but this is working for some people, it's just not me. I need to do something that feels good for me.
Right. And push yourself to be creatively coming up with your own what
exactly
you and yourself. Yeah. These are just fantastic insights and advice, Paulien. And so tell us how people can work with you, your website, or if you have any programs coming up. What would you like to share as how people can connect with you?
So you can join my Facebook group. It's called the Changemaker Collective. Yes. Can you link to the Facebook group in the
absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's where I hang out and where you can always ask me questions, and where I also do free trainings. Mm-hmm. And then I have a new program which is called Your Way to 5K. And that's my program where I kind of help people implement this whole framework that we talked about today. And I just launched a webinar that kind of talks about the same thing that we discussed today, like it walks you through the framework, and it also explains how I can then help you implement this framework. So how working with me looks like.
So where can they see the webinar to get into the framework?
So that is yourway to5k.com.
Excellent.
/info-session.
Okay. So I'll be more than likely doing a blog post on this. I'll highlight these links as well and invite people to comment and ask your questions. We'll come back, we'll look at them.
Yes,
and definitely please post any questions you have for Paulien, and you can connect to her at the Changemaker Collective Facebook group. It's a lovely Facebook group. Paulien is, as I said, someone who talks the talk and walks the walk, and has added tremendous value to the Facebook platform and beyond, and definitely is a great asset for anyone who wants to really cut away the fluff and get down to business. She's the person you want to reach out to and be a part of her community as well, and tap into what she has to offer. And I can really, I can't highlight this enough, because I've benefited from what you've shared over the years being on Facebook, and really I was always so impressed with how much you have shared, and the depth of where it's coming from, the depth of experience, not a fly-by-night person who just found themselves on Facebook. This is someone who is a real person who has had real life experience running a real business in a corporate setting, and is bringing that to bear in this platform. So
yeah, thank you.
I think that's a tremendous value, and I'm so excited that today we're able to tap into a layer of that value, and people can go deeper by joining Paulien's community and partaking in her programs. So before we sign off, any parting words, Paulien, that you want people to remember as a next step after watching this video?
Oh, good question. I think the main thing that I want people to take away from this is that you don't have to do anything online that feels yucky or icky or salesy or spammy. You can find a way to market and sell that feels good and that you actually feel proud of. And that is what I wish for everyone, because I see so many people doing things and feeling bad about it. And I think it doesn't have to be that way.
Yes. That is a great place to leave people, to know that they can be themselves and not try to be someone else.
Yeah. And so if you want to see a structured version of what we talked about today, then you can watch my webinar. It's brand new. So I would love to hear from people if what they think about the webinar. So I would love for you to add the link to the webinar, the info session.
Yeah,
if you can add that to the blog post, that would be great.
Your way to 5k.com/info-session.
Yes.
That's where they can find that. And how can they follow you on IG, on Instagram?
Instagram.com/Paulien Pierik. But I think you have to spell that for them.
From Eindhoven, Paulien Pierik, Paulien Pierik.
That's it. Yes.
That's on Instagram. Excellent, excellent. Well, again, Paulien, thank you for being here today on Supercharged Sunday. Indeed, we have been supercharged for sure. For sure. Great insights, great value. And I invite everyone to like, subscribe, comment, share, invite your friends, share this with someone who can really benefit from it. Tag a friend, let them know that this information is valuable. They don't have to struggle on their own. They can tap into the resources of someone like Paulien. They can be a part of Supercharged with Emily, my Facebook group, and I feature each week one of my extraordinary superchargers right here. So if you're interested in being a part of this, just tap into superchargedwithemily.com, and you can find me on Instagram at Emily the Entrepreneur, and coming to you on Sundays and Mondays with my Momentum Mondays as well. So I'm so excited to have you all, and stay tuned. I'm launching a mastermind retreat, a monthly mastermind coming up in August. So stay tuned for that as we continue to add the value and share the logical next step. All right. Oh, and one more thing. If you're not on my Supercharged weekly newsletter, please sign up for that, because that's where we share some of those extra insights and really keep you motivated through the week, and beyond motivated, like to take action, like target something and then take action on it, so that we actually produce what our goals are and fulfill our missions. So with that, we'll see you next time. And in the meantime, stay supercharged. Thanks again, man. Thank you so much.